What's going on, y'all? We back with another episode of the Redshirts podcast with Isaiah Manning, Jace, Posey. Today we have a special guest with us,
Coach Bookman.
Coach David Bookman. He coached me in high school. He's the head coach now at Garland Lakeview Centennial High School. And what we kind of want to ask you about first is just what kind of got you into coaching, who inspired you to start coaching, and why you think you started doing that?
And what got me into coaching is that I came home. I recently retired from boxing in California, and I was working at a bank. And while I was working at this bank, working in loans, one of our guys that worked in all the departments within the bank, Colonial Savings, Vonzel Thomas, was like a prominent AAU coach. And he coached Marcus Smart and all these different dudes, and he was just coming off of winning a national championship. I knew nothing about this, and he just came up to me one day at my desk in my cubicle. It's like, man, and I remember you from when you was like 10 to 12 years old, playing basketball in Fort Worth. Man, you should coach basketball, man. Like, you just got through hooping and all that kind of stuff. You looked the part. Man, come coach for me. Coach one of my teams. And I was like, dang, for real? And I was like, nah, I'll think about it. Then I came back, and then eventually I ended up coaching one of his teams, one of his, younger teams. Not younger teams, but it's like one of his select teams. They weren't the elite guys, but I was in a program. This kind of got my chance and my start. Then when I started coaching with him, I started coaching at different high schools and working with different kids from those high schools. Then that's when I got that call from Pascal right next to TCU. And then Coach Watson, he was like, man, come work one of my camps just to see if I can actually do it and do the skill stuff. And then he liked what I was doing, man. He gave me my first opportunity to get some money. Then he said, man, hey, you need to go back and get certified to become a teacher. You can be on my staff next year. And it went from Memorial Day weekend being certified, joining Texas teachers to by August I had my first job, coaching. I was teaching at the middle school. McLean is about TCU, a block away from TCU, and I was coaching at the high school, Pascal High School in Fort Worth. So and then from there, man, I just been going, and I was coaching AAU and high school basketball simultaneously, and just grinding like that.
So you talk about Pascal High School, McLean, you from Fort Worth area. So just what was your experience like really being in Fort Worth? Because, we there right now.
Man, my experience being in Fort Worth, man, come from a single-parent home. I was raised in every Section A apartment on the east side of Fort Worth. I got a chance because my mom got with my stepdad, and they got a rental house over on the southwest side. I got a chance to actually go to Southwest. Well, I'll take that back. I'll tell you what really happened. My brothers and my sister, they dropped out of OD Wide High School, which is a local high school. And my mom was like, man, you're not going to go to OD Wide. We actually eventually ended up moving close to Southwest, but not in the attendance zone. But I used my best friend, childhood friend, DeMarcus Neely, address to go to Southwest. Not because of basketball purposes, but because I wanted to go to school with my homeboys that all moved to that side of town. So then we ended up going to school together. Then that's how I ended up going to Southwest High School. Then I grew up in a household with everybody in my household dropped out in 9th grade. It wasn't my mom, everybody in my household. Nobody had a high school diploma, but I was just grinding. And of course, what comes to Fort Worth, man, it's a lot of craziness, man, a lot of gang, a lot of violence, but I was able to just fall in love with basketball and get committed. And then I think that's the reason why that changed the trajectory of my life. Right. It's like hooping, and then that's the reason why I got that passion for it, even to this day, because I know the influence it can have on a life and, how it can change the game.
So at a young age, how were you able to kind of lock in on just I have to do this? This is basketball, this is my way, kind of to just separate myself from the others. So, most people at a young age don't know how to kind of just hone into the future and what they have to do. So how were you able to do that?
I'm going to be real with you, man. I was forced to do it. I was forced internally and also externally inside my household. I had a brother go to prison when I was a freshman, so I started seeing my mom, and we had our lights cut off because my mom was trying to keep him out of prison. He went back, and then next thing you know, I realized hey, I'm not trying to go to prison. And then outside, we had a crazy coach that was running us so much I can no longer do the things that I was doing in the streets with my homeboys, putting bad things in my body and all that kind of stuff. So I had to really lock in on hooping. If you didn't really coach church and coach grade, you couldn't play at Southwest if you didn't love basketball. Because we ran so much. He was the cross country coach. We averaged 90 points a game, so it was a fast break every single play. So you had to be in shape. You had to really grind. I had a Division I basketball player behind me. My third string person at the forward was a 5A player of the year his senior year. So it was like you had to love it. So it was that kind of that grind to the point where if I was trying to do these little things outside, I wasn't gonna make it at Southwest. And then I was seeing, people going to prison around me, people dying around me. I was like, man, hey, do I want to do this or do I want to do something that's safe and I actually can do and I can have fun with and I can actually be, cool with or whatever, get some popularity off of. So that's kind of where I went with that. And then just locked in, bro. Next thing you know, I just fell in love with it. Never thought about playing D1, but I think my lifestyle changed and everything changed to the point where I got got the end results at the end to go D1. So that's what happened.
So I know, Book, you kind of talk about your experience, kind of how, in a way, your situation forced you to kind of lock in on basketball. Jace, it seemed like you coming up kind of had an experience similar to me where, we were fortunate to be in a circumstance where we didn't have to hoop. It was kind of a choice. So talk about where you found motivation from. He found it from having to. What kind of motivated you to get into hoops?
Just being young and seeing my dad in the position. He's traveling every weekend and he just gets to be around all the guys that I think are great. So, as a little kid, you're like, what do you got to do to get there? So you kind of I'm following in my dad's footsteps, just kind of getting in the gym and listening to what he's telling me. And as you said, it's a choice.
Facts.
And if you have the choice to do something, you have to have discipline. And I had to lock in at a young age and just get into the gym.
That makes sense. For me, kind of it was more, like you said, it's a choice, obviously. And I had to choose between basketball, baseball. You was coaching me. I was really I'm showing up to basketball practice with a baseball fit on, changing out of it to go hoop. And, it was a choice, but it just came down to just loving the game. I feel like that's what a lot of hoopers share. You talk about it. You had loved the game with y'all coach, and just that kind of what brings guys together. So talking about loving the game, you getting back into coaching. Obviously, you coached me at Legacy. Now you're the head coach at your school. Kind of give me a little bit of stories about just guys that you saw who maybe did or didn't love the game, just any of that stuff you saw as a coach.
Man, one of the coolest things about coaching, man, you can kind of see the development of the kids, man. I remember Isaiah, man, I was at Legacy. He was around where we was building a foundation. He was an 8th grader. So now he was a part of building the foundation. He just wasn't there yet. He was in 8th grade. So when I first got there, I was left on Crowley, which is a top 5 program, prominent program in the state. And I came to Legacy where they was just losing over and over. And it was just we had a kid named Trey Tennyson move in. And he literally changed our culture. But not only he did that, I said, Trey, if you want to change our culture, start inviting more people to work out with you. So what I started doing is I started opening up the gym early in the morning.
Facts.
And I'm talking about before everybody. And it wasn't a burden like the place I've been at. I've been in places where like Creeview, when you're not used to winning, everybody think it's they hate it. They think you're giving them punishment or something. But at Legacy, it was a packed gym, 60 kids in the gym.
That's good.
Now they was sorry now. So then I started seeing the development. I'm sorry, but they developed. Isaiah was a baseball player. He probably was a better baseball player at the time than he was a basketball player. And I watched him develop and just take everything and soak everything in. And he didn't have it. And the coolest thing about it in coaching is that I get to work with kids that may have my same background or may not. But that ain't a determining factor. You really got to fall in love and you got to find something that's going to make you really like this thing and grind through it, especially to get to the level that y'all boys are at. So in this coaching thing, man, just trying to navigate having to build your relationships professionally, build your relationships with the community, build your relationship with the kids, because the most important thing is the kids at the end of the day, y'all, because I'm not going to be anywhere I am without the development of Isaiah, the development of the Waynes, the development of the JBs, the dudes that made our program. I am where I'm at right now because of individuals like this, because they actually bought into what we were trying to do. And I'm telling you, when we were trying to build that shit, they hated us. At the beginning, it was they didn't, they gonna hate because they don't understand change. But the thing is, at the end of the day, they loved us at the end.
Facts.
Because they ended up getting where they need to be, and they understood that we were just trying to push them to that level. So that's the coolest thing about coaching is the journey, man, the development, to see these kids grind, and the fact that we held you accountable. I know I did.
Yeah.
Because I was on Isaiah's ass every day. Yeah. I hate to say, I don't know if I'm cussing now, but I was on to his freshman year, especially his freshman year, sophomore year, I
He
was
was
trying
like
to get it.
Benford. Like Benford, but worse.
But I was trying to get it with him. But then also I knew he appreciated it because I opened up the gym on Sundays and let him shoot with his dad. Like I was doing things that other coaches weren't doing to like make sure he understood. Like, hey, this is a journey. You got to grind. I'm gonna do anything you ask me to do, but hey, you got to grind too. But I'm gonna get on your ass. So that was the coolest thing about this coaching journey, and then also navigating that from that side. I'm gonna jump to the other side because some of you guys, you need to understand this, is that it's a difference between playing this game and coaching this game. So when I'm navigating the coaching journey, man, you have to make sure you put yourself in the right position to be successful. That means like go to the right program. Like I know I won't be here without going to Mitchell's program and building something with him and then actually leaving it better than I found it. And then what you guys have to understand, networking too. Don't just think because you're a good player that you don't have to meet people and have to network with people. You never know where people are going to be at in the next few years. And then do it naturally. Don't do it because you're trying to get something out of people. But like do it like just be a good person. You know, I think me being a good person, knowing that I can actually sleep at night, knowing I never messed anybody over, allowed me to be in the position I am today. While I like work with a nonprofit in the Bahamas, I work with kids out in the Bahamas. I work with Basketball Smiles. I work with kids like Isaiah. I work with kids that didn't even want a scholarship. They just want to be a part of basketball. So that's been the dopest experience as far as coaching.
So I like that you mentioned, because I asked you about love of the game, I like that you mentioned Trey Tennyson, just because me being around him from the 8th grader with like these Breakfast Club workouts and me being around him last year as a teammate, you could really tell that he kind of loved the game probably more than like anybody I really have been around. So kind of, Jace, tell me if there's any other guys like Trey or like any things you saw from Trey that just like kind of inspired you. Because I know last year he really showed me that like you got to get in the lab, you want to do this for real.
Yeah, I mean, he was that guy in high school. So he came from, he was you're usually not the guy from high school going to college being that guy.
Facts.
And at TCU, I feel like he got a chance to somewhat be that guy. He got to shoot some shots that most guys would get taken out for. So I see a bit of Micah Robinson in him too, because Micah's always in the gym and nobody questions when he takes a shot. So I feel like if you put in the work ethic, people are going to see it and it's going to show on the court.
So kind of translating, talking about these guys putting in work, you talked about obviously the coaching side of it as well as the player side of it. You gave a little bit of stories of these early mornings. Kind of tell me what you saw in me as a young player that lets you know that I was a guy you need to invest in. Because I know as a coach, you can push your energy out, but you're not going to fully invest in any kid who don't let a game.
Man, okay, let me tell you about Isaiah. So we used to come up to the 8th grade, and it was, I'm gonna be real. Let's have a real conversation. It was coaches at the school that we were at, the feeder school, which they couldn't relate to Isaiah. They didn't look like Isaiah. They didn't look like us. They couldn't relate to him. So every time they'd be telling us how bad of a kid he is and how they couldn't connect with him. He was living in Las Vegas and all those kind of things. And the whole time, me and Coach Mitchell like, man, this is a kid. This is a player. This is like, we can't lose no kid like this. This is like the next. And we seen it before he seen it, because Isaiah was playing baseball. So what we did, we came down there, we was intentional about going down there with Isaiah. So what I started seeing is, I tell his ass do a mic drill, he do it. He's like, hey man, you gotta do a mic drill. You gotta do 10 on this side, 10 on this side. So we have him doing a mic drill. We was pulling him away. He had a good personality. He had a good, we understood he was brash, he was cocky, well, as a youngster, but I think that was good for him because when you're not good and you're trying to develop, you got to actually have that in your mind that you can be that. Yeah. So what I started seeing out of him is that he started coming up to our practices. He started putting in work early. And a lot of kids, where you're playing multiple sports, you're not going to come in early to work out with the basketball team and all that kind of stuff. He started doing it. And then, he started challenging Trey to one-on-one, like, and Trey's a senior. He's like, man, I'm going to be better than you one day, like that kind of stuff. Like, it was the craziest thing ever. But then I started seeing that in him, and then plus we like the same height. So, you know what I'm saying? I started being like, damn.
Yeah, we doing the big man drills.
I had him doing all the drills, like teaching him all the up and downs and all this kind of stuff, just the fundamental stuff, and spending more time with him. And then I realized, like, the background he came from, his dad's, around my age, but he's a professional, like, he's a professor. His mom is in the medical, like, they just literally was like the Cosby kind of situation where you have a situation where, like, they got the hipness to them, but they making sure they kids ain't just coming out here looking stupid and acting dumb. Like, so I was like, man, dang, he got a chance because of the formula he got. Like, he ain't got like, too many flaws when it comes to like the background stuff, as far as that. And he has a chance if he actually focus, harness it, to be better than me and be better than all the other dudes that was around him. And that's what I think he did, man. I think more and more you started investing more time in yourself, more time in your game. Then I think that's how I just started seeing you develop. And that's why I started getting on your ass even more earlier. Because I said, man, I can't let him go and leave legacy. And I know when they're your senior year without you being told the real stuff. Like that you're going to get told in college. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I kind of was trying to push you earlier. Like, and I know I pissed you off a lot of times, but that's why I was trying to do that. And that's why I kind of seen it. And you took it. Like, you took coaching, even though got frustrated or whatever, you actually was taking it, man. You developed shit.
Yeah. And that was kind of like these stories you telling me about. This is really when I decided I wanted to go forward with basketball, probably like end of my freshman year, sophomore year. And it was in part because of the fact that you was investing in me. And I'm like you said, I'm a kind of cocky kid, but at first I wasn't really better than a whole lot of people, but I was just seeing like quick turnarounds. Like dudes that was better than me, I'm really getting better than them quick.
You passed up a few dudes.
And because of that, just working hard. So I kind of wanted to ask you, like, I know you obviously played from a young age because your dad was in the league. When did you realize, like, I'm really about to do this, let me lock in? And who were kind of the coach books for you that was right there alongside you in that process?
I didn't realize, like, my full basketball potential until maybe my sophomore year of high school, just because, I mean, I was, like, just like you, I wasn't always Jace Posey, how you weren't always Isaiah Manning. Like, I grew up not better than everybody. Like, I had to be I was always one of the first people in the gym, and that brings character. It builds character because you see all these guys getting a lot of media coverage, and they're not in the gym with you, and you feel like you're putting in more work with them. So you just you got to be patient. I think both of my high school coaches for that, Coach Carroll and Coach Amorosa, they kind of just helped me fill out the process and told me to just like run your own race. Like it doesn't matter what this person's doing. You see them on Instagram. I mean, it all looks nice, but I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, we're damn near all in the same place. We're all at the D1 level or not at the D1 level. So, I mean, you just got to run your own race and follow your own path.
Yeah. And you was kind of in that club with me, like you said, where, freshman, sophomore year, I'm seeing all type of dudes popping out with high major offers. I didn't really get any of those at that early stage, and then I got a couple of smaller schools. So, Book, kind of tell us what your recruitment process was like.
Man, I got a great recruitment process. Crazy story about that. I think my head coach actually put it on Twitter. It was pretty crazy. I want to go back to your recruitment process before I start with mine. Okay. I swear I love your recruitment process.
Because you was in the middle of it.
I was in the middle of it. We was intentional about putting the right film out and putting the right little stuff out. But then also, I remember you playing and you was like the backup on certain teams. And the coolest thing about you is that you still got to the Big 12 and you didn't transfer. You didn't go anywhere. And you went through the fire. Like you had to wait behind some people. Thanks. And like after you were playing on the team your freshman year, and it was a dude on there that was like, I don't want to say the dude name, I don't even know the dude name really no more. But he was like, everybody was trying to get attached to him. They was trying to, all these fake media companies and all that, trying to blow his name up. And Isaiah's like the backup. Isaiah's not nothing, right? At the time, like as far as the name was, right? And I'm like the whole time, like, man, Isaiah gonna be better than this kid. And then this kid ended up transferring here, transferring there, and all these different things. And man, Isaiah just stayed grinding. And he didn't have any scholarships coming out his sophomore year. And then we had a TABC thing coming to his junior year. And I was telling my boys at Troy, I got some partners that coach. I'm like, man, you need to talk about this Isaiah kid. Like, hey, he gonna be good. This is the one you got to go check out. I told my coach up in San Francisco, head coach of San Francisco, hey, Isaiah Manning, this is the next dude coming up. And I'm just behind the scenes doing stuff like that. And he actually just putting the work in, not transferring, not trying to do all this other little stuff. His parents weren't stressing about it and that kind of stuff. And then literally we had TABC, and we literally let everybody up at TABC. Came out like the best team at TABC. But before TABC, man, him put this little 1 minute tape together, him shooting threes and him doing this little lane line dribbling stuff, and then we put it out to Twitter. So like and then we told the coaches, like, you need to go watch him play. Then literally they showed up, and then he showed out, Keon showed out, our whole team showed out, and then that's when he just started blowing up, like offers. and then he got it at the right time. It wasn't he got it his freshman year or nothing like that. And then whatever happened from there, it happened. Like he got TCU, and that was dope. It was awesome. But my recruitment process, as far as, man, I told you I was having brothers in and out of prison.
Mm-hmm.
My mom, my lights kept getting cut off. Our phone bill was, not paid, so then it'll get cut off. So nobody can get contact with me. So what happened is I ended up signing with the Citadel because I had a few scholarships, but I was losing them. Like I had Tulsa at one point in the summertime. I played with a pretty good AAU team, which the AAU coach, head AAU coach, the head DeSoto coach, Coach Wright. And I was getting scholarship offers because I have like a good game, and then I go like, whatever. And then at the end of the day, I end up UTA, Citadel, all these different offers, but it was small. But I ended up signing with the Citadel, where the Citadel coach was like, he did some stuff behind the scenes. I don't know, nobody know, but something happened where he got fired. And they didn't tell me. So I found out through the TCU coach, Iceman, because that was my boy. I played with his son that's at Troy now. And he was like telling me that, hey, man, you need to go JUCO and go to McClendon. So I ended up getting out of I couldn't get out of my Citadel scholarship, so I ended up signing with McClendon. Signed with McClendon, which is the prominent JUCO down in Waco. Signed with McClendon. And then I'm about to go to McClendon. I'm doing all these different things. But at the same time, I break my leg my last play of my senior year of high school. We in the third round of the playoffs. We're making a playoff run. I break my leg. Nobody know I have a broken leg, a fractured leg. So I'm playing in all these little events and doing all this stuff with a fractured leg and all this stuff. Not really letting it heal. I'm in the hood. I knew I had a fractured leg with my coach, Coach Gray, who's just died this year. Like he didn't care. Like he let me just play through it. And it like fractured it like at the end. I'm gonna be real with you. Like Coach Gray didn't give a man, he really didn't care about you. You better play hard. You walk on. We had a kid, Wimpy, had 15 points after a torn ACL in the Whataburger tournament. Like he had a torn ACL, didn't find out until after. It was that kind of crazy stuff going on in 2006. Nobody know this kind of story. So I'm out. That's why I walk like that to this day. So then I have
he got a nasty walk, worse than Book.
So we literally broke my leg. I'm about to go to McClendon. McClendon don't even know I got a fractured leg, but they just they recruit me. I was a Division I player. I was decent, And then I get to like the summertime, and me and my mom were beefing about me having to get a job. I'm like, man, I play Division I basketball. I got to get a job at Albertsons. So I get a job at Albertsons, and literally that is the reason why I got a scholarship, because Albertsons was the only people who had a phone. I didn't have a phone at home. So this the coach at the Citadel, he was the assistant coach at Citadel, now he's the head coach of San Francisco, found my number through my aunt or through somebody, whatever it was. My head coach said he just called all the Albertsons that around the Metroplex, but he found my number. That's
crazy.
And they called me acting like they called me acting like they were like customers. Coach Book, they was like, David, can you come to the produce aisle? They got a customer online. They want to order some fruit or something like that or whatever. I come there, it's him on the phone, so I'm like, man, you avoid me, like, man, you ain't get no.
That's
like, come on, man, like, hey, man, we trying to get you up here to Hartford. I'm like, where the hell is Hartford at? Like, it's Connecticut. I don't know nothing about Connecticut. So I say, man, you know what? Cool. I go tell my mom. I say, man, Mom, one of these coaches from the Citadel, they want me to come to Hartford. Mama don't know nothing about sports. She just want me to get a scholarship, so she don't give a damn. But she didn't want me going to Hartford. She thought I was just messing around. But I was like, Mom, I'm about to go up to Hartford. And about to take a recruitment visit. Man, I went up there, and at the time in my house, I was living in these on Sycamore Point, on Sycamore Road. There's a bunch of gangs, a bunch of everybody, a bunch of cliques. They had the Katrina people over there, so it was shootouts every night. So I had a bunch of shootouts. Our apartments getting shot up every night, so it was hard just hooping over there, hard just being there. So shit, as soon as I got over there in the summertime and got up to Hartford, they gave me a nice-ass hotel. I'm on the Atlantic Ocean. They treat me good to a 5-star restaurant. I'm like, hell, I'm going here. Like, hell, I'm going JUCO. And then one of my partners that got killed, I asked him, I said, man, should I go JUCO still or should I go D1? He said, bro, if you already got a D1 scholarship, why the hell you going to go JUCO? So then that's why I ended up going D1. And then next thing you know, through that process, they put me with Jared, who's now the head coach at Texas A&M Commerce, ended up being my roommate. But we was driving around all summer long just hooping at UT, hooping at TCU, hooping everywhere we could, trying to stay ready for the summer, for fall. And then we end up hooping down to Rio Grande, pretty much to keep me not leaving, like keep me to Hartford commit. So then we end up driving 3,000 miles up to Hartford, just me and Jared, and we stayed at a few places, hooped at a few places, but we ended up going up there. And that's how I actually stayed in Hartford, because Rio Grande coach, when I hooped in open gym with him, he tried to get me to get out of my scholarship. It was like the craziest shit ever because I signed like in July. June or some shit like that. Like
Before the senior year?
Right before my freshman year of college.
Oh, that's crazy.
I signed like that late because of all the craziness going on or whatever. So pretty much I was the first person ever to get offered a scholarship at Albertsons, working at Albertsons. So
no, that's wild.
If it weren't for the Albertsons, I wouldn't have got a scholarship. That's crazy as hell. So that's my recruitment process and all that kind of stuff.
And that's completely different from us because, you say you signing in July, you getting the offer at Albertsons. You ever had a job?
No.
I ain't never had a job.
That's what I'm saying.
So we ain't never had a job.
Had it for 2 weeks.
We got to sign on the big signing day. With all the people you had, like your whole school went to it, right?
A couple people on my team, yeah.
But yeah, so it was completely different from us. So I'm glad we really asked you that because that's completely different. Kind of tell me a little bit about what your process was like. Most likely going to be a lot different. What led up to your signing day? Who you was layered, maybe narrowing down to at the end.
So I don't know how much I want to say, but
okay.
What are you really asking?
I'm gonna tell mine.
What are you asking
afterwards?
Like, what's the question?
What your process was like? How you end up narrowing down before you committed all that?
Okay, so you go first. I'm gonna see how you tell it.
Because I'm gonna just keep it a bean.
Yeah.
So he was real influential on my early process, like he said, when I got a couple of my offers. And TCU was my first high major. So just off the strength of my dad working there and that being my first high major, everybody in Mansfield just was like, you going to TCU. People at my school, I'm getting Secret Santa gifts in my little journalism class. They just giving me TCU merch. Like, this is really what everybody was on. But I was not really trying to do that. So I'm getting recruited by these schools, and I really liked Xavier. I really liked Kansas State. I really liked Alabama, just because, Alabama was #1 team in the nation at the time. Xavier was good. K-State was good. I liked Coach Tang. And so I really didn't know where I wanted to go. And to be honest, I took my official to TCU, and I was just like, this place is lit. Like, it's real close to the crib. I didn't want to be too far out because all them other options that I had that I really like were dumb, far away from the family. And so I was just like, you know what? I'm a tough kid. Like he said, I wasn't really trying to transfer in high school. Like, I just went to Mansfield Legacy. People thought my coach was recruiting because he got me and this dude that went to Oklahoma State. But really, he just got lucky. We moving in there.
We actually, it wasn't a recruiting thing because his butt wasn't even a hooper. When he came to Legacy, he was more of a baseball player. He was a cold pitcher. And then Keon was a chubby kid that was just trying to leave a bad environment back home. And he really was supposed to go to Timberview, but we hosted the Whataburger tournament, and we met his uncle. And I think the Timberview coach kind of like shaded his uncle or didn't really whatever. And then he had a choice between going to Mansfield Timberview, or going to Legacy. And we made it more welcoming for him to be over there. And we didn't even know if he could hoop or not. And he came over there and he played JV first year. So he didn't get recruited. And he was like, he wasn't in shape. We gotta talk about that story. Anyway, so he ended up developing with our strength and conditioning coach, like y'all all did, and he literally changed his whole body. And then that's when he started to get recruiters. He wasn't even, when he first came to Texas, it was all these schools, all these AAU teams didn't want him. They didn't want him. They was trying to give them the AAU teams, them high ones, the pro skills and all that stuff. They was like, whatever they want to say behind the scenes. I don't want to say too much, but they didn't want him like that. But then when he actually took off his junior year, that's when people started trying to say, hey, man, can Keon come over here and all that kind of stuff. So it was just like the same thing with Isaiah. It wasn't no recruiting situation. It was the dopest thing is that we just was available.
Facts.
Like, we made it available, and then we got lucky with the Mansfield Legacy, the development, the property behind Mansfield Legacy started to have new houses and everything like that. And that's how you get dudes moving in and all these kind of stuff that we didn't even know of. They end up helping us out and be a successful program.
And he really got to clear this up just because when we was playing on this team, we was nice. Like, you're talking about these tournaments and stuff that we was winning. Yeah. We had me and this dude. We had just, like, more talent than a lot of schools, and people really thought that we was recruiting. And I was like, bro, it's the craziest thing. Like, they really just got lucky. So kind of around this time, I was just like, you know what? I'm a dude who ended up at this random school in Texas, and I made it work. These coaches work for me, so I'm going to just go to the school that I'm basically, like, zoned for.
Yeah.
And so, like, I was really just zoned for TCU, and I'm like, I'm going to just pull up here and see what it is and make it work. And then when I end up getting there, I liked it a lot last year, so I'm just like, I'm going to just stick with this. So it was really more awesome, just like, my house is the closest to this high major. Let me go there.
Yeah.
Does it feel like home for real?
It does feel like home. I mean,
you've been there your whole life.
not like this. I've been there my whole life.
You've been there since the 7th grade.
My dad office was literally across a sidewalk from our dorm last year. You feel me? Like, I have a bad day, I go talk to my pops. My mom could pull up to the school. And so, like, it really do feel like home. And then on top of that, I've been going to TCU games. We had season tickets when I was in 8th grade. When I was the scrub, he talking about.
You was just going to the camp. They didn't offer you no scholarship. You was
going
to
the
a regular
camp. I went to the camp that they be paying for.
Yeah.
I'm in this camp having mental breakdowns against the scrubs. The scrubs is getting on me. Like, you could ask Mike Rice. Somebody, one of our coaches literally said, like, I promise you this kid will never play for us. Because that's really what I was on in middle school.
He was lit. He's, baseball, it's different, man. Every kid like that, man. But, the crazy part about it is, it was the kids that were made legacy so good. It was the kids that nobody knew of.
Facts.
And we had kids play on B team. They ended up playing Division II basketball. Like, we had about 4 or 5 of them. Like, we had a dude named Eli that was on the JV2 team. Then it's playing college basketball to this day. It just became all those kids bought in to be coached hard. And the coolest thing about it is, only reason that worked because their parents let us coach their ass hard. Because Isaiah, dad, and his mom let me coach his ass hard. They just call, hey, man, what Isaiah was doing today? And they believed me. They wasn't like, no, Isaiah, right. It was none of that kind of stuff. So that's what I learned by going to different schools and stuff. And what I learned the most is that you only can coach a certain way and have a certain standard if the parents allow it to happen. Because most parents, it's so much misinformation out there. Like, the best parents I've ever been around so far. Of course, I had great parents at TCU. But it was like 1 or 2 or 3. I mean, not TCU, but North Crowley. But we had, like, our entire parent system at Legacy was like great. Elite. Like, they were so connected with each other. They'll work in sessions. They'll let us coach their kids. They will let us handle the problem that they had with their kids at the school. And, like, we will punish them. Like, we will do things with them. And to the point where, like, I know when I was there, I don't know about your senior year, like, man, hey, go run those hills, go run those stairs. They knew Coach McLeod had push-ups named after him. Like, the Coach McLeod push-ups, we had study hall a certain way, but the parents let us do it. I went to a school where I was at a school like Creekview. Man, them parents was like, man, no, like, they didn't understand what winning looked like. So, like, when you at a school like Legacy, they understood what winning looked like because their parents they're winning too. And y'all are winning. Like, and they end up developing. And it was the proof was in the pudding because Trey Tennyson went out. Yeah. And it was that kind of stuff, man. But you got to be allowed to have a standard. Hold kids accountable.
Whatever they wanted to do.
And then develop the kids. Because, trust me, and that's the coolest thing, because it wasn't no hood school. It was a suburb school. But we had a mixture of everything. We had a mixture of, tough kids that were from tough backgrounds. We had kids that were more influential backgrounds, but then they all were tough. They all ended up being tough because we were practicing tough.
Because we got hoop shoes on. We in the gym. Yeah. Nah, they saying go to the track in the hoop shoes. You not changing. We got the Kyries on. The bottom of them, the bottom of them orange from the track.
You can run in those too. And then we had it but it was across the board though, man. We had it. It was a standard. Even in the track program, the girls program, it was it was a standard because why would we not? Because if you're talking about excellence and everything, why would we not hold kids accountable in that department? Because if we sell them short, then they don't develop, and then they don't come off, we gonna all look bad. So if they look good, we gonna look good. So that's why we was doing those kind of things, man. And then we kind of loved it behind the scenes because, man, we had a dope staff. Like, man, we had the young dudes on our staff. We had the older dudes, like McLeod was like the a father figure, and like, one of my mentors to this day. And then we had Coach Mitchell, who was like military, like, you know what I'm saying? So
what he's not saying too is we was one of the only schools, we had all black staff.
Yeah, it was all black,
So we had him, we had Coach Mitchell, we had Coach McLeod, we had these all black coaches at the school, which
different levels.
It helped a lot too, because for a kid like me, like he said, at my middle school, all white coaches, they didn't relate to me. And so they was kind of, which I mess with all these dudes to this day. I have no bad blood with them, but just they didn't really understand how I was as a person. They labeling me a bad kid. Yeah. You know me, I people want to say like crashing out or whatever, but I really just had a lot of emotion in the game. And they understood it as like, if we funnel his emotion the right way, we'll have him going hard as shit.
Isaiah sophomore year, he was a freshman year. he was around all the older kids. We moved him up early. We had him on JV for a little bit.
Yeah.
But we moved him up to varsity, right? And then our practice is like tougher than anything. We used to press all day. You gonna get hit on the ground, you gonna get your ass back up.
Elbowed in the face.
You gonna get like whatever it is. But we ain't saying shit. It's that in the game, a referee ain't gonna call everything. So we gonna play tough as hell. We gonna play fast. So Isaiah get pissed off. He get into a little tussle with Justin. Justin like a football player, 215. Next thing you know, Isaiah just running out the gym. He's like, man, just got out the gym because he was a freshman. He didn't know how to deal with his emotions or whatever. And then he came back. He'll come back, and then he grew up. But he needed to go through that, man, because I feel like that's what got you where you are today.
He's not even going to say, I'm sitting on the stairs. I'll tell him.
Yeah.
I'm sitting on the stairs. I done left the whole building. I left the gym. I went out the hallway. I'm sitting on the back stairs crying with my head in my hands, mad as hell.
Because we on his ass.
Because I'm like 13 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Justin, big as hell.
He young as hell.
They getting on me, just like pushing me around. I'm like, bro, this is dead. And
Fight
I'm sitting
it.
out there, and he like, bro, you got to come back inside. Like,
Mitch was like, go get his ass. I'm like, man, hey, man, Isaiah, you got to come back inside, man.
just to get some respect.
You got to get
it.
So you got to go get it. So he come back in there and he started practicing, but it was a rite of passage. Like that's why I said all the kids developed because our practices was different. It wasn't like we used to have team days. It was like different things we used to do, but like it felt like it don't matter if you was a 15 person, you felt like you had a chance to bust somebody's ass in practice.
Sure.
So because it was just straight up like that kind of competition, that kind of level, and then that's why our younger guys. Like our JV team used to kill like Cedar Hills JV team and Duncanville JV team. They end up being a big piece of y'all puzzle because they end up being cold. Like Darian and all them dudes, they senior year, they end up killing because they was going through the fire with us and playing against y'all and all that kind of stuff the whole time. When like y'all played against Trey and them. It was just that kind of atmosphere over there. And that's why I'm trying to get back over here at Garland Lakeview Centennial because they had that at one point.
Facts.
So we're just trying to do that, man. That's how you develop kids. And that's why Mitchell, he's like the mad scientist. Like people don't know. Like I know he ain't perfect and nothing like that, but he definitely know how to develop the shit out of kids and like make their ass tough. So that's probably cool. That's a cool thing about Lakers.
Facts. And I'm gonna ask you this. We can get back to your recruitment. You narrowing it down, but since you was on that topic about how like at our high school we got B teamers. They practicing against the A teamers. You had this kid named Rocky that used to go at me, elbow me in the face. He was really going at me every day in practice. Kind of talk about the stories you got from last year. We was the 15th man. We 15A and B at the bottom of the whole team, but we going at the best player. I'm going at E-Man, you going at whoever. So kind of give us a little story if you got any, because I got one specifically about you that I hope you tell right now.
Of last year?
Yeah, just like last year, anytime in practice, you kind of feel like you going at some of the older guys.
I mean, being the young guys on the team, I felt like we always had to go at them. Mm-hmm. And I feel like pretty much every day felt the same just because I had the same goal every day to kind of go out there and prove myself. I can't remember anything specific, but I remember going hard. And that's something I wish kind of I had in high school because, I mean, your situation, I love my high school situation, but I wish I could experience something like yours. Y'all seem
real competitive,
and it seemed like y'all had a great culture.
Yes.
And I don't think my high school had that culture that y'all have. I feel like not everybody on my team wanted it. I feel like not everybody on my team wanted to play basketball, which is okay because, I mean, it's high school and people trying to figure out what they want to do. But I would have loved to experience a team that had a competitive culture like that.
Yeah. And so I'm going to ask you now for any stories you got because I remember these days, I keep mentioning Rocky elbowing me in the eye with no foul call, and he telling me to get over it. But any stories you got about just like competitive days? Because we really had a lot going on. We dunking on each other, all that.
That day when you and Amari got into it, we had days where we had some days, some things I can't speak on, but we had days where like man, they got it in at practice. And I'll say this right here, so. It got so competitive, man. We were 5 teams deep to the point where we had a team day, and it'd be like 2 teams down here on this end. There's some 10 guys on this end, then 15 guys on this end. Yeah. And then they be like, how you have so many damn kids in the gym? Every kid was hooping. So you get scored, it was like 5-on-5 full-court cutthroat. And they was just going at it. So then we had a dude named Justin that moved in, and Justin was like stocky, swole football dude, but he can hoop. And he came in one time. He was like trying to, punk dudes or whatever. So one time he like hit somebody, threw him on the ground. I think he was about to swing on him. And next thing you know, I know you remember this, like me and Mitchell like ran up on Justin like, you ain't doing shit. You better help. And then Mitchell started, and then, you know, Mitchell was like, you better help in your life, try to da-da-da-da, touch a kid like that. You ain't never da-da-da. He started going off. And then literally, I think Justin just turned around like, nah, like, I feel like his whole mindset changed after that. And it made Justin hone his emotions and actually put it towards the right place. And he took us on like a crazy ass playoff run.
He did.
But it was like he changed so much because of that confrontation at our practice. The practice was tough that this dude literally got a chance to play college ball, balled out, one of the best players, and all that shit they was talking about Justin before he came to our school. Like, you couldn't even say that about on our team. And, like, he changed. Like, and I don't know, you know, as far as everything going on now, I think I messed up with doing that again. But, the table thing. But as far as that, like, that's how you don't only change the culture, you change the kids within the culture. Because Justin not only, he ain't swinging on nobody no more.
He was
ain't
crazy.
Nobody at. Like, he literally just doing it, like, on the court. Like, boom, using his shoulders and scoring and doing all that kind of stuff. But those are the kind of crazy practice stories, and we got some open gym crazy practice stories, but it's like, man, it's crazy. It was like, that's how you develop kids, man. You have controlled chaos at practice where kids are playing hard, they're playing fast, and the games are easier. The games are always easier. I think for these guys, we pressed the whole game.
I try to compare it to like Houston. I feel like we was like a high school version of Houston.
Yeah, we just
like, it was real crazy. We trapping everything the whole time. Yeah. And it was just chaos, like you said.
He said fine flesh. So everything, every offensive rebound, we had dudes crashing. That's why Ken was known as the best offensive rebounder in the state at one point. He was killing like that at Oklahoma State. Like, we always sending guys to the rim. So now they just running into there, just running like just crashing out, hitting somebody, just hit somebody, just fine flesh. And next thing you know, it translates. It translates to any level. And then when we had crazy stories when I was in high school, man. We had, like you said about the Amari story, we had a story like that where we had TCU in the gym because we had about 4 or 5 Division I players on my high school team. We had TCU in the gym. We had all these different schools in the gym. The one that died, the coach that was the head coach at TCU at the time I was in high school, he ended up dying, Doherty, I think. He was in our gym. He's recruiting a 7-foot dude on our team. And, man, that dude, we had a brawl. Like, it was like 5 dudes fighting the other 5, and it was like in front of everybody because it was so intense. Right. Our head coach did not get off the chair. He just let it go. Like, he didn't even get up. Like, Coach Gray was just, like, looking at it like, okay. Because he wanted us to be tough. Like, we got to go against Domo. We got to go against some state champions. Like, we had to, like, you know, get in there and get it in.
How was it after that?
It was cool. We was cool after that. Like, back then you can fight and you'll be cool the next day. Like, I remember one time we had, like, 3 or 4 fights. And but that was back then. Like, back then you'll have your fights, but then we tough as hell. Like, we pressing the whole time. So it's just, that's how it happens at press and practice. We'll fight, be cool the next day, go hang out at McDonald's up the street, whatever it is, and everybody be cool. But nowadays, I think it's because it's so many people like sensitive and everybody take everything too much.
Because that's not even how it is always. Because like Amari, I don't even know if you knew this, but that wasn't the only time that me and Amari got into it.
I know all that stuff. I don't want to say too much. But I know. But I'm saying I ain't gonna lie to you. Your parents, it was so funny, man. I took a kid to see y'all play your senior year, and your mom like got up out of nowhere. Amari got MVP of this Mansfield tournament because he finally turned it around. Like, he used to be, man, I used to push this kid every damn day, and then when I leave, he finally turned it around. Anyway, so he was killing Summit. I'm talking about balling on Summit in this championship of the Spring Creek, and then your mom, even though y'all had a fight, she was celebrating Amari. That's how real our parents were. She was like, yeah, he hit my kid in the mouth last year. He deserved that shit too. And I'm like, hell yeah. I said, and then I'm in Creekview, and I'm bringing a little young boy with me to see this culture. And I was like, damn, I miss that stuff. Man, I miss that kind of stuff where it was just so many real parents around that was like, that let us grow these kids. And he was like, that was real and they was still cool. Like, man, Amari and Isaiah, they probably gonna be cool for the rest of their life.
No, he's still cool. You know what I'm saying? He coming up to TCU Open Gyms too.
You see what I'm saying?
So that's what I love.
Each one teach one, and it's like, and then you got the chance to like help him out. He younger than you, and he gonna be successful in life. And it's just that kind of stuff. Like Amari, dad, cool as hell. Like, man, admin. We had parents around us. I don't want to keep going back to the parents, but it was just so dope with that kind of atmosphere. But that's what it was like you saying, like, it only can happen in certain programs, certain organizations, certain cultures. You can't just have no fight for no reason and be jealous of somebody. Like Amari probably did. You was talking too much shit. Like he was talking. He was roughhousing him when he was younger. And he finally got tired of, probably got fed up of it. And I pulled you to the side, like, hey, I said, come here, man, come here, I'll let you real quick. Like, they got coaches over here on the side, bro. You gotta chill. And then as I'm saying that, Amari just walk up, bro, you ain't gonna do that. And then next thing you know, practice over with, and then we got to go to lunch. And then Mitchell got on Amari, and we all got on him or whatever. But it was just cool, man. Like the fact that like it wasn't like that all the time.
Yeah.
But things like that was something you're going to remember for the rest of your life. And it's like, that's the kind of stuff that kind of is going to have that bond forever. So it's pretty dope that we actually got to experience a lot of that stuff together, the good and the bad. So,
but yeah, that turnover was real quick though. I know this is 2022. You know what I'm saying? We got into it, me and him, multiple times just because, I was a crash out. Yeah. He was a crash out. We played the same position. We both hitting the glass like crazy on the boards.
We had to crash.
Throwing bows, throwing whatever. So it just really got to that a lot. But that's my dog. You seen him. He came at the TCU Open Gym. He dunking on people at our Open Gyms. He was really hooping a little bit. He had his girl in there recording him and all that. So
he got to chill out.
But I'm happy for him though, for real though, because he didn't turn it around so much.
It's my boy, man.
So we can kind of bring it back to your if you got anything about your recruitment process, and then also if you have any stories about just anytime maybe that you didn't got into it and you didn't realize with a guy that like we getting into this because we competitive and we just gonna move past it.
I'm going to talk on that one. So I haven't had anything really like that recently, but when I was in middle school, maybe 5th or 4th grade, I had an AAU team. TJ Ford, Elite. We had a cool little young group, and we've been around each other for a while. And I haven't been on too many teams where I felt that culture, but I knew we had that culture on that team. And it wasn't even a tournament, but we went to go visit TJ's dad in Austin because he's Austin legend down there, repping down there. So we was down there chilling at his apartment. We playing the game. Somebody lose a game. Now everybody want to fight. So we all in the apartment fighting each other. And then 2 hours later, we all cool on the game again, laughing and joking about it. And I feel like it's okay to have chaos in a program as long as you have culture.
Right.
I think culture is a very important part, and a culture is 100% thing. Like everybody has to be bought into the program and just what's going on. And I miss that, and I hope we could bring that back to TCU.
Right. And I'm so glad you used the word culture over and over again because, like you said, with us, I think we had a perfect culture and legacy, or not perfect, but we had an evolving culture that was going to be as good as it could be, and we were just going to figure it out and work through it every time. And I hear you talk about parents. We didn't even know this side of it, but like you coach in high school ball, a parent could be just as important as the player.
Oh yeah, parents definitely, man. Like you got to understand how the demand we're going to have when you guys to be a successful program.
Right.
We're going to need the parents to let we're going to need parents dropping their kids off hours at certain times.
5 a.m.
We're going to need parents like telling their kids to get their butt up for school and get their butt to the gym. You do after school open gym. Some parents don't want they don't like ask for it, or they don't tell a kid like, hey man, you got to get your butt to the gym, but they're going to be worrying about their kid playing. So you want us to win 20 games, but you don't demand that same, commitment from your kids. Or you want your kid to be every other day, and everybody in this district is like double blocked every day. They hooping. They in the morning time working out. They after school working out. They playing AAU all day. You can't compete against kids like that unless you're doing something that's very, very similar. So what we have here, this is the difference between a successful program and a non-successful program. It ain't the coach, right? It ain't necessarily sometimes the kids, because the kids are never going to change. The kids are going to do what they told to do by their parents or by their coaches. It's the parents, the admin, the kids, everybody being on the same page of saying, we want to win. We want our kids to be excellent in everything. We want our kids to develop. We don't give out. Some parents, they got so much misinformation. They think, well, my kid can go over and paint pictures this day, but then he can go back and play basketball this day with these kids. And this kid is playing Division I basketball, top 50 kid in the state. He hooping every single day. Yeah. He trying to kill your son on the court. Like, why do you think your son can do half the work?
How do you get parents to buy in?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, you try to build a relationship with them, right? But if the parent is so misinformed, before you get to them, it's sometimes hard to build a relationship with them because some parents are delusional. Blood is thicker than water.
Yeah.
So some parents might think, man, my son
The coldest.
this, and that.
Even
is the
if
coldest
they
person in the world.
trash.
Yeah.
So now you're telling the parent like, hey, he got to figure out a role. He may be the backup, or he might be the star, he may be the player. It doesn't matter. Some parents are so misinformed before you get to them that it may be a struggle to build a relationship with them because they have their own agenda and they have their own mindset. But some parents are just awesome. Like I had some awesome parents at Creekview. I've met some parents at Garland, but I haven't met all of them because we got some kids in football. They've been awesome so far, and I had awesome parents everywhere I've been at. But then you also got parents that can kill your program because they're having their own intentions. They want to run your program, or they think the program should be ran a certain way. So then next thing you know, you have to figure out a way to build a relationship with them and try to figure out how to coexist with them because at the end of the day, the kid's the most important thing. So you have to figure out ways like, okay, what's this person's, like what they value the most? And then try to figure out if you can build with them. But sometimes what they value the most may not, fit what you're trying to do. And it could be hurting the program because what they value the most, they just want their son to play. They don't care win, lose, or draw.
Yeah.
I just want my son to drop 30 and y'all lose every game. Or it might be a parent that's saying, or I just want my son to do this, do X, Y, and Z, but you need to be winning 30 games a year. Well, it don't work like that. If you're going to be at a successful program, you're going to have to commit a certain level of commitment in order to grow and build a relationship. But then some parents are just, they're going to do whatever you ask them to do, man. They're going to grind with you. They're going to volunteer. They're going to do all those things. But I was at a place, I want to name the place, but I was at a place, man, the dude walked up to me the first day. I do my introductory thing and all this kind of stuff. Man, I'm going to be in the community. I'm going to help you with everything you need. Man, I'm the dude that everybody come to for everything and everything you need. This dude never helped in the community, never helped with anything we were doing in our program. All he did was yell from the stands what we were doing wrong, what he seen on the court. Never seen the practice, never knew what was going on. All he did was the opposite of what I thought he was going to do. And then he made it. And then, he was like Debo around that school, so everybody was afraid of him. Yeah. So next thing you know, he thought he ran the whole school because the football coach, everybody was afraid of him. So it's like he did what he wanted to do, and it was the opposite of the program we had at Mansfield Legacy because nobody was trying to do that. Nobody was trying to be like Isaiah. Just because Isaiah was going to Big 12, his dad wasn't trying to run around like, and my son a Big 12 player, like, you better do what I tell you to do. It wasn't none of that kind of stuff. They just sit in the stands, they'll cheer, they'll yell, whatever, but it was like they never tried to tell Coach Mitchell what he needs to be doing or how the program should be ran. And some places are like that. Some places are like, they think they know what to do. Where your son has never, none of your kids have ever been like Big 12 or any college experience, nothing like that. What do you think, like a program, like you've never been a part of a winning program, what do you think a winning program should look like? Not what you done read on YouTube or what you done seen on a book or what you done heard. Have you ever seen a winning program from the inside? Right. And if you haven't, then just watch what we're trying to build and then let it happen, right? And that's the kind of thing that we're talking about with parents and all that kind of stuff. And there's some amazing parents out there, man. Had an amazing parent in North Crowley, Sherfield, Grant Sherfield. He's playing overseas. He played Oklahoma, I think, a couple of years ago, and his dad was amazing, man, as far as how he used to try to help out in our environment, help out and volunteer and all that kind of stuff. And then we had some parents more so at the beginning stages. But, yeah, man, like I ain't gonna lie to you, like if you want to build a program, parents are gonna be major influential in trying to build something because they can burn it down in a heartbeat before you can build it.
And I'm glad you said about if you want to build a program because what I wanted to ask you next was, you new to Centennial. You really starting to build this program over there. And so, one, I like to use the analogy from what he's saying because I feel like being a coach working with parents is the same as trying to be a leader working with players. Yeah. Like how you got to meet people, how, some dudes, you might have a teammate that's going to immediately buy in. You might got one you got to work with and talk to differently. And so I think we can learn a lot from what he's saying in terms of just leadership and if we want to go into the coaching field. But so I want to ask you, what are the steps and initiatives you take to really try to build a good program for the foundation? Because you're really starting anew at this school.
Man, well, you have to be intentional about building a relationship with the kids. And then you be intentional about building a relationship with the parents by building a relationship with the kids. So now that doesn't mean you're going to always be happy with the kids and they're going to be smiling in your face and all that kind of stuff. But you better make sure the kids know that you care about them, that you appreciate them.
Right.
And that's what I've been doing so far. And the parents know it. The parents have been experiencing. They've been hearing about it. I've been meeting the parents. They've been telling me about it. Man, it's been pretty cool. We got constant communication as well. So I sent out a weekly email like I do. I just did it like out before I got here, and just build a relationship with them kids, man. Make yourself available to kids. I think that's probably the biggest thing we did at Legacy. I was always available to you, to you. Like I was every day. I was 7 days a week. So now with these kids, I'm always being available to them. I'm trying to show them different stuff. They cool. This is like my favorite kids I've been around since I left Legacy. Like they are just they just I don't know, they with it. They with everything we're trying to do, and it's been pretty cool, experience with that. But when I say when you're trying to build a program and a culture and you're trying to build a relationship, you got to start with the kids, and then you get through to the parents and you try to expand to the community. You got to make sure that the admin are in it with as well, build a relationship with them as well, and they've been awesome. And then there's how the system, the setup to do it, because if you got the right setup, the right system, you can actually do it, man. So we install our system, man. We let them know the standard. They're sometimes uncomfortable, but, man, they've been buying into it. We just got through playing this weekend. And so far, man, they've been committed to everything we asked them to do. And every parent I've met so far has been so cool and just with everything we're trying to do. So that's what you have to do, man. Be intentional about building a relationship. Be intentional about building your program, man. And just make yourself available. Make yourself, like, open. Don't try to big time people. Don't try to act like you're better than them. Like I'm like here or something like that. Like I was, y'all at one point. You know what I'm saying? I was a high school kid without any scholarships at one point or trying to get it. So just make yourself that. And I think just being genuine with that is important. And then it's important to get assistant coaches too that can actually help you build your program, because I think that was important at Legacy. And I think if you want to build anything, you better have some loyal, bless you.
Man,
you better have some loyal assistant coaches that don't want your job, that don't want to screw you over, that only want to pour into the kids, don't got any back intentions, like bad intentions, that those kind of things, man. And you can build. You can build from there, man. And I think that's what we have right now. Like I have a young assistant coach and I have an older assistant coach, and it's like we got a good dynamic right now.
So talking about the buy-in that you talk about from, required from players, parents, really anybody involved in the program, I see a lot of that from you, kind of looking from my perspective on you. I see the buy-in when the coach is talking about ball pressure, offensive rebounds. You hit the glass a lot this past week, really just everything. So what kind of flipped the switch? Because you obviously a kid who listens to coaches, coachable kid, but I didn't see you as bought into the details until recently, and now you've been killing.
Well, I sat back and took a look at our team and realized everybody here is new. We have a lot of transfers on our team, so in order for the whole team to get on the same page, one person has to take that initial step, or at least a group of people do. So I wanted to be one of the people who's just making sure I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm listening to coaches, kind of leading by example. And even with you being out of practice these past 2 days, I see it a lot, just you being vocal and showing support to the other players. That's all what a program needs that. And I feel like if me and you and others keep on emphasizing what the coaches are doing and just paying attention to detail, I think it's all going to work out well for us.
Facts. And I think it's super important, too, because like a coach can say something and all the players can go in the locker room and be like, man, that was some bull, like whatever, he tripping. Or a coach can say something and some of the best players, some of the central players can echo that, and now it cements in. You being a coach, how important is it to kind of, in a way, coach through your best player?
Man, it's everything, man. If your best player is not bought in, then it's going to trickle down to the entire organization. Like when your best player is bought in, your best player plays a certain way, plays hard, plays tough, and can be coached, then everybody else has to fall in place. It's just like the Tim Duncan concept when, Coach Pop was down there coaching Tim Duncan hard as hell, but then Tim Duncan was taking that coaching. So now everybody else behind Tim Duncan has to take that same approach and reproach. So it's vital to your program, because if you have a kid that is very talented and he gets to do whatever he wants to do, then you no longer have a coach. You have his coach.
Yeah.
And if you have to understand is like unless it's your organization, like you have to buy into it. And that's why I'm like, that's so important because, man, I have few stories like that, man. Like that's why we coach you guys hard, but our best players at Legacy played hard. Like they played hard and they played together, team ball, that kind of stuff. And what we're trying to do right now is with the best players at Lakeview, they're playing hard. And I think if we continue that, we're going to be successful. We're going to shock a lot of people because last year we only won 4 games. And I think with the talent we have in that gym and the talent we have that's going to be coming from the football field, and I feel like we have a chance to shock a lot of people, wake a lot of people up. And I'm just excited about the opportunity. But you have to have buy-in from everybody. If you don't have buy-in from your best players, man, it's over.
So are there any gems that you kind of want to drop on us? I know you've been on here for a while. Anything that you kind of want to tell us to send us with after this as far as a player, what you done seen from the coaching aspect of it, just anything through basketball? You've been around the game a long time.
Man, I'll tell you guys, man, finish the race, man. You've been running your own race. Like the coolest thing about you two, you got similar stories. You didn't have it all the time. You guys redshirted. I feel like, man, like it even if it doesn't happen right away or it happen in the next few weeks, like your time is your time. And I feel like it could be your junior year. Man, like you just need one opportunity to take advantage of it. But you gotta grind. You gotta stay ready. You gotta keep outworking people, and you gotta be willing to change. Like, you gotta be willing to grow through the BS, because you all know college is a lot of that. But then also it's actually fun. Like you guys are doing something that everybody in the country wants to do. They're paying thousands of dollars to be on AAU teams and do all this different stuff just to be in this position. Just because it's not happening for you, or just because you may not have it right away, you got to keep grinding, running your race, because it could be your last year. It could be your junior year. But it's everything that you're doing in the process that's going to shape you for the next 50, 60, 70, 80 years. Like to the point where, like, I never became a star in college, right? Through different reasons, different variables and all that kind of crazy stuff. But everything I've done in college, all the experiences, the friends I've met, the traveling I did, the basketball, the networking, all those different things that I didn't even know I was doing, it's actually impacted my life to now. Like, I didn't even know I wanted to be a teacher, educator. When I got hurt in college, I started doing more community service. Next thing you know, I'm doing tutoring and I'm doing all these different things. Like, you never know what's going to happen. But I feel like everything you're doing, every good experience, bad experience, is shaping to you to be where you're going to be in the next coming years. So don't try to look at anybody else's race. Don't try to look at anybody else doing this. I know you have different people that you look up to, but, man, just keep running your own race. And I'm telling you, if you do it, you're going to be successful, because it's just about finishing. Yeah. Like, if you finish at TCU and, like, finish with a 4-year degree at TCU, man, you can do anything. I got a teammate, 7 foot, Lucas Tauscher. He is 7 foot. He broke his back his freshman year at TCU. Never played after his freshman year, right? Redshirt, did a medical redshirt, hardship. This dude got 2 degrees from TCU. Dude making almost over $500K in Atlanta. Big old house in Atlanta, got kids. He's living better than the dudes that were averaging 20 points on that team. See what I'm saying? Yeah, so, like, you never know how this stuff works out. And Luke didn't play. He had a campus. He had a job. He had to start working inside the athletic department and all that kind of stuff, man. Like, you never know. Just finish your race, because whatever's for you is for you, and you guys are going to be successful, man. Y'all, like, some of the brightest dudes I've been around so far in this basketball game. And that's what people are going to look at, and they're going to want to gravitate towards you guys. Even doing something like this, like, y'all going to show everybody, like, that you are more than athletes. But then also, you already marketing yourself now. You're already branding yourself now. You're already networking now without even knowing it. So keep doing what you're doing. Keep what you're doing. You guys are young in the game, man. It could be the NBA. It can be you having your own nonprofit. It can be just being successful, just finding out what you're doing, just mingling with the regular people. Then I'll tell you one last thing, man. I just left a wedding in New York City, right? With a boy I went to school with, homeboy I went to school with, that did not play basketball. And I'm telling you, meet and hang out with people that do not do what you do just as much as people you do. Because I'm telling you, you might meet a next billionaire or just somebody you're going to be traveling with. Yeah. Like, just, you probably going to, like, my tribal homeboys, like my dudes I hang out with, we network, we bounce ideas off each other. like meet people that don't got the same background as you. That's the best thing about college. Best thing about college is like having friends that has a different background than you. Got a homeboy in Sweden, homeboy in Japan, homeboy in Puerto Rico. All that kind of stuff happens because I went to college. So enjoy that kind of experience as much as you enjoying basketball. Because when things weren't going right in basketball, bro, I was having fun outside of school. And I was just hanging out with my boys, man. So have that balance and then grind your ass off on the court because that's what got you there.
Appreciate that. That's really going to go a long way. We got to look back at that video because that's a lot of valuable stuff. And I appreciate you for not just us, but our audience. Giving them that gem. So before we wrap up, we didn't give any shout outs today. I want to give a shout out to your basketball team. You told about these kids bought in right now. So shout out to y'all, to the kids hopefully watching this episode.
Lakeview Centennial.
Garden Lakeview Centennial. Shout out to that team. Make sure you tell them to watch. And it's a real coach you got to listen to. Like now, I could say, as far as me going to a high school kid, that I got some knowledge y'all don't got. And I can say that, like, I done been around head coaches like Jamie Dixon. This dude know what he talk about. And I appreciate you coming on and kind of talking about all the stuff that you know. That's going to help us.
Appreciate you, man. Shout out to y'all, man. Like, shout out to everything y'all doing, man. Just continue grinding. Shout out to TCU men's basketball team, man. Y'all going to do y'all thing this year, man, and keep doing what you do, man.
Appreciate it.
Shout out to everybody at Mansfield Legacy, man.
Shout out Legacy.
All the guys that's doing their thing, all the little crew, man. And man, thank you, man. Appreciate you, big dog.
So appreciate you having us on.
Thank you.
Do your thing, man.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, definitely, man.
So that'll wrap it up. Thank you guys for tuning into this episode of Redshirts.